What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Team B Presents. I am Bullet B, joined by almost always.
BillMac here.
He's back. Bill's back. He went missing. What's up?
It is great to be back, my friend. Sorry I was missing the other day. I was kind of MIA there for a little while, but I saw the last Team B show. It was looked like you handled yourself pretty good with the two guys that were filling in there, a couple friends and whatnot. But had to be back in the seat tonight.
Yeah, you were Don Tony gone missing, man, because he was missing from his show, the Don Tony Kevin Castle show. By the way, plug, good podcast. But yeah, Don Tony, he went missing, so they had to fill in. They did the best they could, so I did the best I could.
Yeah, you done pretty good, man. Yeah, I hated I missed it, but I knew it was pay-per-view night. I knew,
Yeah.
I know we just had to get this done. So yeah, I was going to be back tonight, so I'm glad to be back.
Back to show wouldn't be the same without you, bro.
Yeah, I try not to be missing too much of these. So you don't see that happen too much unless it's something really going on that I can't be here or you can't be here. We'll try to do our thing. So it turned out. I'm glad to be back. But
yeah, man, it's like I need you for the ratings and everything, man. My ratings will go down.
Well,
like what if Kevin Castle hosted the show by himself? It won't be the same without Don Tony.
No, it's like Lone Ranger needed Tonto, man. You got to have your sidekick on there to for everything to be complete. So we definitely had to be back and whatnot. But yeah, just glad to be back. This late edition usually we're doing, but hey, it's all good. Pay-per-view was on tonight. Got a chance to check that out earlier, so I figured we'd do a little discussion on the pay-per-view, from tonight. But
right. This is the WWE Battleground post show.
Yep.
I'm just trying to figure out how to share this on Facebook right quick to get some people watching, but it's all good. I mean, people. It's public anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Well, let's see.
Links. I found it. I found it.
Okay.
But what was the first match? Help me out here. I missed it, man.
We're starting off here with the pay-per-view. What happened? The very first kickoff match was the match between King Barrett versus the King What's Up, which is AKA R-Truth is what he's calling himself. King What's Up. Over the past few weeks, Barrett, Truth has been making fun and poking jabs at Wade Barrett over the last few weeks, dealing with him ever since Barrett won the King of the Ring special that was on the WWE Network, $9.99 plug there. It was a pretty close.
That shit ended up being $11.33. I used to have something like that.
Well, it's going to go up. It'll go up. I guarantee you it'll go up. I mean, everything starts out cheap, but then, as you know, it just basically it goes out. But yeah, it was a decent match. It kicked off Raw, which poor Barrett, which has been resorted to ever since he won the King of the Ring tournament. But he finally won tonight, if you can believe it. It was a pretty decent match. And Barrett went back and forth with Truth through the match. But finally, for once, he was able to pull off the victory. He had to hit the bull hammer on R-Truth, for the 1, 2, 3. But dude, just the thing with me with Wade Barrett is, he has gotten a bad. I don't know if it's the booking or what, but he just hasn't been either booked right or what. Because I know this whole King of the Ring, and you and I were talking about this earlier. This whole King of the Ring thing was really just a flop and just a special to go on there. But you remember, as you're a big WWE guy, back in the day, how important the King of the Ring was. It was a very important thing. That's where Stone Cold kicked it off his 316. I just whipped your ass phrase and stuff. But I mean, come on,
exactly.
It just
and
resorted.
That was a natural, organic thing that he said, and it turned into a catchphrase. It seems like when you come up with a catchphrase naturally, it catches on quicker than these made-up catchphrases that WWE superstars currently have. Suplex City, Brock Lesnar. That catchphrase is something he said in the ring. He made it up, like Austin made up his. People love it. And that's the only T-shirt he has that's selling really good is the Suplex City one. Now, where did that catchphrase come from? It came from Brock by himself. He just said it.
Yep.
that's the best catchphrases. Also 316 is I just whipped your ass, and that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. It just came to his mind, and they, it was marketable. Made millions of dollars with it. The same thing with Suplex T-shirt. Now hold on. Now the King of the Ring used to be important, but WWE, they needed, like you said, they needed a gimmick for the for the network. It was never meant to be a push for Wade Barrett. It was not a push for Wade Barrett. And I'm surprised he won the match tonight. I'm shocked by that. Because he's been losing every week. I said, okay, he's just a joke now. The guy that goes out there, he's just a new jobber. He's the Brooklyn Brawler type guy that goes out there and loses every week. And you said he won the match. So what's up with that booking, man? I don't get it. I mean, he's like, what, 0-30 or 1-30? Then he finally wins a match. I mean, I just don't trust. I feel like he's too damaged now. He's lost so much that fans are not going to buy into him no more. I mean, and that's a shame too, because Wade Barrett's got the whole set. I mean, he's got the charisma. He's a great talker. He's got a good look to him and a good wrestler. I don't get what happened there. When he was in the Nexus and he kidnapped John Cena and all that stuff, I mean, he was killing it. He was like the top heel for a couple of months. He really was. Then he started up the Core. And when he started up the Core, which was an offspring from the Nexus, it just went downhill. It's been going downhill ever since. He's got it. It's like they can't figure it out or they don't care. I think it might be political. Maybe he pissed somebody off. I don't know. That's all I got to say about that.
Well, I think that is because, excuse me, because of one, the booking, the creative couldn't keep him going and make him a top heel. Two is the fact that I think it's just basically because the man got injured at different times. Right when he was getting a real push, he's got that Ziggler phobia or something. Because these, you know what I'm talking about. These guys, right before they get a push, they get injured. And that's the thing with Daniel Bryan is he's gotten over, but his pushes have ended up getting cut short because of injuries, and then you wonder, but see, the thing with Daniel was he got well over enough and he won a title, but he couldn't really do much after he's won a title. You look at the IC title, which they were pushing that to be the big thing with the U.S. title because they, at that time, Brock was supposed to have won the title, but he didn't. But you look at now Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett's had the Intercontinental title. He's had a chance, but he gets hurt at the wrong times, much like Ziggler and a couple other people have. I mean, that's a rarity you see someone getting a push at different times, but get hurt as well. So it's just the fact that creative for one, bad timing with his injuries have really hurt him. So he's damaged.
Yeah, and them injuries really messed him up, man, because he got a few the Bad News Barrett gimmick. That was a good gimmick. It was catching on. I was like, finally, they found something for him. And I think he got injured around that time too. I remember when Sheamus injured Wade Barrett a couple of years back. He was out for a long time. Then he came back as a hard-hitting Englishman and all that gimmick. Then he turned into Bad News Barrett, which they should have kept him like that. And now, because that was catching on. And then they turned him into King Barrett. And I'm just glad they didn't call him King Bad News. It's King Barrett, So, yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe they know he's just injury prone. Maybe that's why. Maybe they want to stretch him out for a good year before they give him a good push. You know what I mean?
Well,
maybe that.
No, it's just that. Well, that too. But see, I was reading on that when that whole Bad News Barrett thing. If you notice, right before they stopped doing it, the fans started cheering him. Vince didn't like that. So Vince had him stop it. That's why that stopped. Well, you just seen all of a sudden just stop. And this King, because it's like you said, the whole gimmick wasn't really for the King of the Ring for Barrett to get a push, but it was just to give him another gimmick because Vince didn't want his whole I've got some bad news, for the fans to cheer because he's supposed to be a heel. But when you notice there right before the end, the fans started cheering it and they started saying the same thing. He'll say, knock on the thing, he'll say, and everybody will repeat behind him, I got some bad news for you, and they would start cheering. And Vince just didn't want that. And Vince, when he says stop doing something, they stop. So then he was a gimmick. So I think, too, is it may be that's what the King of the Ring was for, just to give Barrett, because he looked the strongest out of the competitors that they had to maybe give him that so that he would have another gimmick to go. Because, you can be the king of the ring until they have another one. So he can be King Barrett on and on and on.
Right. That's why he won the King of the Ring. And I still feel like the King of the Ring was just a gimmick for the network. Yeah. Like, if R-Truth won the King of the Ring, he probably wouldn't have got a push. And he was the one saying, "Oh, I'm not even in the King of the Ring," or one of the pay-per-views. Money in the Bank, that's what that was. Now, the thing, see, Vince is psychotic, man. If people are cheering the gimmick, back in the day in wrestling, when people start cheering the catchphrase and it's catching on, they turn the person babyface. That's the natural, logical thing to do because you want market value, somebody that's marketable on your show. That's why they have The Rock come back, because he's marketable. He draws people. You want to have as many draws as possible. So why would you just shut that off? Back in the day, like when Austin was doing his heel gimmick and everybody started loving his catchphrases and stuff, the natural thing to do was turn him babyface. And guess what? It was the biggest wrestling boom in history when Austin was babyface. So, the way Bad News Barrett, they just turned him babyface. I mean, I don't get that. He could have been like the anti-hero type or whatever, but it's just Vince set in his old ways, man. And not in his old ways. Old ways were good. I mean, I don't know what the deal is with that. It's just insanity in his head. And too many people. He got too many writers. It's too much. Back in the day, it was just him, Faggy Pat Patterson, and a couple others writing. Russo doing the bookings, writing, not creative. Now you got like 30 writers in there, and they don't know what the hell they're doing. They're not even wrestling fans, half of them. You and I could figure this shit out in the instant.
Yeah.
Plus we listen to really good podcasts, and they say the same shit we basically say. But what was the next match?
Well, after that was the kickoff show match. We had, which surprise for the 400th time, we had Sheamus versus Orton. Now, to me, watching the match and stuff, it was very, very boring. It was, and you noticed, the spots happened, and between they all got their moves in, and to me the crowd wasn't really into it much, and as you've known, man, over time everybody's pretty much tired of seeing Orton versus Sheamus. I mean, this is one feud that has played out. I mean, they did their best to put on a match, but when you're tired of seeing something, no matter what the performance may be, people aren't going to do it. And to me, the crowd just didn't seem into it, but they fought so many times. But Orton, and eventually the result was Orton ended up, as you would think, Sheamus tried to do the brother kick on him, and then Orton eventually got the RKO out of nowhere, and thank God it ended that match.
Every time I think of Randy Orton versus Sheamus, I think back to a couple of years ago, the post-WrestleMania Raw show, when it was Sheamus versus Randy Orton, and the crowd was doing a wave during the match. They were bored to death with it. That should have told WWE creative right there that the fans don't care. They didn't care about it 2 years ago. And research has shown that they've had about 50 matches. Seriously, because they had a match on Raw. They have a match on SmackDown. Then it being a tag team match, rivals and stuff like that. I mean, they've had so many matches together. It's crazy. I don't understand that. The post-WrestleMania show, like I said, everybody was doing the crowd wave and chanting boring, boring. That should have told them something. Nobody cares about Sheamus. There's like a small minority that cares about Sheamus. When I see Sheamus, I want to just drop dead when I see him. And all the podcasts agree with me on that. And I don't get it. I mean, put Paige with him. I mean, he's just gonna don't hurt Paige like that. But I'm just sick of Sheamus. I never understood his like when he was a babyface and he was on SmackDown. I was like, this guy ain't a superstar. He's like a B plus or C plus superstar. I mean, I just never got into Sheamus that much. He's got a good look. He's got a good entrance, but it don't catch on. He can't get to that level. I don't know what it is. People are just tired of seeing him. Well, Orton. I mean, you can say the same thing about Orton, but people will still cheer Orton when he comes out for some reason. He's more marketable than Sheamus, and Sheamus has got potential. That first year when Sheamus came out and he's feuding with Triple H, I said, oh man, that's going to be the top guy right there. And now they're forcing him on us as a top guy, and he's not. He won Money in the Bank. Nobody liked that. Maybe there was a couple of people that liked it, but everybody was like, wow. The logical thing to do was give it to Roman Reigns. Then Reigns could have turned heel, got revenge on Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. This SummerSlam coming up for what Rollins did to him at WrestleMania. Could have been a little bit of karma there, you know, cashed in on Seth. That would have been better storytelling, and that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. Going back to what you were talking about, that post WrestleMania, you know, it was embarrassing. Don't you think, you know, Vince listening to that, and, you know, he's there listening to the stuff, you know, and they were chanting as just reiterating on what you're doing. You know, they did chants of JBL. They were doing chants of Michael Cole. Of Jerry Lawler. They were doing chants of Macho Man. They were doing chants of everybody but what was going on in that match. And you think of what Vince was thinking about listening to all this crowd, which, dude, the thing is, sometimes it can be just the crowd. Now, you know as well as I do, some crowd, but it's not with this particular matchup, Orton versus Sheamus, that time period. It's just basically played out, you know. I mean, Sheamus has he feuded against Bray Wyatt yet? Has he feuded, you know, against Brock Lesnar yet? Has he feuded against, you know, any of these other heels that have been out there? It's been basically the same played out ones. I mean, has he feuded against them? I mean, they brought Sheamus back fighting like who? Daniel Bryan and trying to beat up on Ziggler. And
yeah, that was probably the plan right there, to be fair. It was probably supposed to be Sheamus and Daniel Bryan, 100 matches this year, but, you know, Daniel Bryan got injured. That was probably the plan. They're like, oh, Daniel Bryan's injured. Hey, let's throw him in there with Orton. Yeah, people ain't sick of that. It was just the city we was in. But and that's very true, but the problem is it should tell them something when nobody likes it in every city they go to. It wasn't just the post-WrestleMania crowd. Nobody gives a fuck about Sheamus. Sheamus versus Orton feud, nobody cares. It wasn't just that crowd. They should see that. WWE loves to think they're smarter than us. They say, oh, it was just a bad crowd. It was just the wrong city, etc., etc. But, I mean, when you get no reaction at all from nowhere, that should tell you something.
Yeah, it's just, you know, I just think that they've not feuded. Let Sheamus even use him as a mid-card guy. Quit putting him against Orton. Put him against Bray Wyatt, maybe. Let them have a feud sometime. I want to see stuff that I'm not used to seeing. I'm tired of seeing, you know, but sometimes you have good things that there are repeats of it, i.e. the Kevin Owens and Cena, which we'll get into that later on. But that's not bad because they put on really good matches. They work hard. They play off hard of each other. Cena's willing to put this guy over, and they're putting on decent matches. They're not, you know, Orton and Sheamus are doing the same things, the same generic things in their matches, and people are just fed up with it. I mean, you can eat rice every single day, but after a while, you're going to pretty much get sick of it. And when it's feed it to you, you're going to spit it out. But
that's what Sheamus is, man. He's just plain rice.
Yeah.
Now, I think I know how to fix Sheamus.
Okay.
Keep him like he is, but put Fit Finlay with him as his manager. Have Fit Finlay come out there with him, and I think that would make him more interesting and more legit. And have Fit Finlay cut some promos like, "Hey, we just want to fight. Go out there and fight." You know, he'd be pointing to Sheamus, fight. You know, I think that would lift him up a lot.
Well,
that wouldn't hurt. Put fucking Fit Finlay with him as his manager.
Yeah,
but one more thing. Most top heels that were successful had a manager. Bobby the Brain Heenan managed all the heels. So if the heel wasn't getting over, Bobby the Brain was helping him out. Mm-hmm. You know, he made Andre was great. He was one of the greatest of all time. But him and Bobby the Brain Heenan, the Brain just made him more interesting, made him more of a heel. He done all that stuff. You know, he's Paul Heyman basically. But yeah, put a Fit Finlay with Sheamus. Won't hurt to try it. I mean, what else can you do? Nobody cares. Put Fit Finlay. Don't put Paige with him. Just put Fit Finlay or, you know, something like that. Well, or team him up with Wade Barrett. That'd be an interesting dynamic. And call them the foreign exchange students or something. And have them fight the New Day.
Yeah. Well, I understand the direction, and I agree 100% with you. Sheamus is not really good at drawing heat himself. And whenever you can't find somebody, see, Owens has got that. Rollins has even got that. They can talk that cause you to draw heat, but the only thing with Fit Finlay is that being a WCW guy back when Fit Finlay was never a talker really much. He never really done a lot of talking. Finlay, like a lot of them, just fought. They didn't really push promos. So I understand the direction you're going in, but Finlay was never a talker. I've never really heard Finlay other than fight and stuff. Him really carry.
Yeah, but that's perfect. That's all he needs. You know, my name is Finlay, and I love to fight. That was his gimmick. You know,
yeah.
He loves to fight. That's all he's got to say is fight. That's all he's got to do, and you will get some kind of reaction. Because if you're not getting negative heat or cheers, you get no reaction at all, there's a problem. And I'm just saying, Fit Finlay, yeah, he's a man of few words, but he could just be like, just throwing it in your face. He loves to fight. He fights. It might turn him babyface. That would turn him babyface. You know.
Well, you could use them if you're going to use a manager for that. I mean, if for a turn, maybe I wouldn't say for him to create heat. If you wanted to turn Barrett bad, you know, or turn into a face, it wouldn't be so bad to have Finlay there, right? You know, trying to get him into shape and tell him he's lost a lot. You know, they could say, well, he's back in training, he's lost a lot, you know, and he's riding Wade Barrett real hard. And let's just say Barrett keeps fighting and he almost wins it, but he loses. And then Finlay gets too hard on him, and then he gets where he gets fed, berating him so much he gets fed up with it, and Fit pushes him around a little bit. He doesn't quite get him, and then sooner or later, Wade Barrett turns on Finlay because everybody's sick of him and turns him to a baby face. I mean, to me, that would be good. But as far as in drawing heat, I don't know how much heat you can really draw from Fit Finlay, because really Finlay didn't draw a lot of heat back in WCW. He just basically went out there, but that was his gimmick. He was a tough Irish guy. And I see that Barrett could be that too, him being English, but you really can't draw too much heat with Finlay. He's just not that kind of person. You know, you need a Bobby or like you said, a Paul Heyman type person to draw some heat, major heat for him. No, but you know, like you said, though, dude, it's played out. It's stale. It's old. People get tired of hearing it, and I get tired of seeing it, and I know you do as well.
I think Fit Finlay and Sheamus would work if they were baby faces, because you know they can always say we love to fight or something. I mean, as a baby face, yeah, you're right. I mean, Finlay doesn't really draw heat because people like him because they know he's legit, though.
Yeah.
And you know, you put that, it would make Sheamus or Barrett more legit at least. I mean, but yeah.
Yes.
What was the let's go to the next one.
All right, next up matchup. Well, we have this little segment where of course we go in the back and they're talking to Stephanie, you know, JoJo, the girl that does the new announcer. She was interviewing Stephanie, and Stephanie, you know, was there, of course, trying to, I guess, she's going to be a baby face now, from what it looks like. She's talking about bringing how happy she is about wanting to revamp the women's, the Divas division, how bringing the 3 women from NXT, you know, so that Paige ultimately feels this, you know, that the Bellas are taking over, and she hasn't been getting any help, and how bringing these women in will eventually revamp the whole Divas division. And then they show Raw, you know, which Raw last week was pretty decent, you know, when those 3 from NXT came in, because then it cut to the manager, to Paige there and her group talking. And what they're going to do now is they're going to have a triple threat match later on with one representative from each group: Paige's group, the Bella's group, and with Naomi and her group. So after that, they go off, and then oh boy, one of our favorite tag team matches is coming up. Up next, we have the New Day Sucks against the Primetime Players. And dude, let me tell you this now, even before it starts, Xavier Woods gets on the mic, and they're claiming he's been hurt ever since, you know, they showed the match at the Money in the Bank when he got hurt. And he said that's why he's kind of been out, and all we've been seeing is lately has been Kofi and Big E. And everybody's been saying Kofi's just, you know, why isn't Xavier fighting? It's because of that. But, you know, I just think he kept talking so much, and people were so sick of him when they were all coming down to the ring. People were just booing. They were just sick of him talking. You know, he was jumping and yelling around the ring the whole match. I mean, it was a good match back and forth. You know, you had New Day against primetime players, and it was a good back and forth match. You know, which it was decent. You know, not a B match, maybe a C I'd give it, but it was just the whole fact of Xavier outside jumping around and screaming and just running his mouth. I was kind of already I was like, just wanting to shut him up, you know. But it was a decent match for the tag titles, and eventually, of course, primetime players won when Titus hit the spine buster on Big E for the win. So, you know, I mean, it's decent. It's a tag match. You've got to have, you know, tag matches on a pay-per-view. And, I mean, while it wasn't a really big match, it was still a tag match, and, you know, it had a decent finish.
I think the New Day is doing great because they get a lot of crowd reaction. Their promos are really funny, man. I don't understand why they're putting the titles on the primetime players when they got something with New Day. Now, primetime's okay. Titus O'Neil's the only thing good with the primetime players because that boy's got some charisma. You know that because of the play-by-play commentary he did on Raw this past week. You need to have Titus on that damn commentary team, man. I'm telling you. Keep New Day like they are, or bring back The Undertaker, turn him heel, and put New Day with them, and it could be the new ministry of darkness. And Undertaker come out there with his eyes rolled up, walking slowly, and New Day be back there clapping, darkness. It'd be hilarious. That's just fantasy talk right there, but that would be hilarious, man. And throw Titus O'Neil in there as the enforcer. Oh, yeah, we're going to beat it down tonight. Darkness. Yeah, Undertaker. Yo, zombie. But I like the primetime players, and I like New Day because when they turned the New Day heel, man, that was some funny promos by Big E and Kofi Kingston and Woods. He's all right, but Big E's funny as hell when he gets on there. He sounds just like Devon. Oh, my brother, testify. You know, it's hilarious.
Yeah,
And,
I mean, I think
in primetime, they do cut some good backstage promos where they're picking on the Ascension and other tag teams. I don't know if you ever caught those, the promos they did on the Ascension and other tag teams, talking about how bad they suck and all that. That was hilarious because Titus can talk, man. He's got that personality.
Yeah, I think one of the funniest thing was to me was like you were talking about bringing Undertaker. What I think will be funny is they don't have nothing for Bo Dallas. Bring Bo Dallas into them. You know, bring Bo Dallas in. Let him be, because you know he's so positive. You know, right along with the New Day, and just have him basically go out there and basically join in with the New Day. You know, branch it out just a little bit. To me, that's a perfect idea. Put Titus with the New Day. Yeah, that would. Is that what you said? No, well, no, I was saying Bo Dallas.
Bo Dallas. Oh, yeah.
only because you know they're always trying to stay positive, and Bo Dallas could say like, "Well, I could see you're positive. You need a little bit of more inspiration, and you need to believe." You know, it goes.
So funny, man. It was like when Owen Hart was in the Nation of Domination. He was the only white man in the faction. So, yeah, put Bo Dallas with the New Day. That'd be hilarious. Like, New Day. He'd be like, believe it. That's genius right there. But, yeah, I just misunderstood because I had to message my mom back, so that's kind of important. But, yeah, Titus, you know, anybody, yeah, Titus would work in New Day, but Bo Dallas, that's money right there. With New Day, that is money. Casual people that are not wrestling fans will stop on the USA Network and be like, what the fuck is this? This is hilarious. It's so stupid, it's hilarious. I mean, they will draw people that way. Well,
that helps, man. If you believe it or not, if you're going to make and say WWE is entertainment, you got to have a little bit of entertainment in it, you know, and have a little bit of comedy with them. That's why New Day kind of gets over, is because they're funny. Everybody likes clapping against them. Everybody likes them saying, no, you got to cheer New Day and stuff like that. Yeah. It's good, you know, and having Bo Dallas, why not? This is supposed to be the Mr. Inspirational, you know, believe, you know, when he goes in there and have his little New Day tights on and all. But it would be cool for him to join that. You know, I would definitely do that, is have him on there. But, you know, it was decent. I mean, At least they're keeping a tag match up, man. That's the really only positive thing I can say out of that. So that was all basically for for that match. Was the Titus, and I agree with you with Titus. He's good on the mic. He'd be good as a commentator if they ever needed one. Up next after that, it shows Paige again. She's talking about putting that her and her team, with Charlotte and Becky Lynch, which is Becky Lynch.
One final quick thought on the previous match with New Day in the prime time. WWE don't like to listen to the fans, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not trying to bring up the Monday Night Wars because that's been talked about to death by everybody, but especially WWE Network, that's all you see. Anyway, my point was when WWE was falling down, the WCW, what did WWE do? They started listening to their fans about just about everything. So I feel like if WWE would listen to us, like with your Bo Dallas idea, for example, throw them in there. I mean, people would love it because all they got to do is just listen to us. Now, to talk about the Divas, bringing the NXT Divas up to Raw, and Stephanie promising the division's going to be better, et cetera, et cetera. That's great. I hope they stick with it because Sasha Banks, man, Charlotte, them NXT girls are great. They were trained in a farm. They're not Hollywood actresses trying to be wrestlers. They actually were in a wrestling farm, NXT, developmental plant, like the power plant, WCW. They actually came from a plant. So, yeah, I just hope they don't have 3-minute matches because they'll have 10, 15-minute matches on NXT. It's the best part of NXT sometimes. And, man, if they put that on Raw, that would be awesome. It'd be like the Trish Stratus versus Lita times when they had them good matches. Trish Stratus and Lita main evented a Monday Night Raw a long time ago. But, yeah, Trish Stratus and Lita was the main event on Monday Night Raw, 2 women. That's how good their feud was. And people love seeing the match, too. So bring the NXT girls up and go back to that format. They say they will. Let's hope so. That's something that they're listening to from the fans, because the fans would all agree with that, Put the NXT girls on there, give us better matches, and we'll care more about it. Get these Diva Search winners and Total Divas the fuck off there. Well, they're always going to be there, but I just hope they don't put Sasha Banks like on Total Divas and start giving her 3-minute matches because the booking's different on Raw than it is on NXT. So I just hope we don't, eventually wind up like that. But maybe they'll go somewhere with it, man. Hopefully, because the IC title got a good push this year. John Cena's in his best role, man, ever. That's the most interesting John Cena's ever been. Him having the U.S. Open Challenge, that's the U.S. title, but same as the IC title. But they'll try to lift that up. But hopefully they'll lift up the women's division or Divas division like they did with the U.S. title. Lift it up like that because that Open Challenge, man, is awesome every week. I think. That's the perfect role for Cena. People are sick of them, so put them in the mid card and help the mid card out. Because if you don't have to pin Cena, if you have a good match with Cena, that gives you credibility enough. People, that's how you build up respect. You don't give somebody a push overnight. Like if he defeats Kevin Owens the first night or something, he didn't. I'm just using this as an example. If he defeats Kevin Owens in the very first match, that doesn't mean he's burying Kevin Owens. See, that word buried is being used too much. If he almost gets the win on Cena, you'd be like, damn, that's a good rookie or a good new guy. I mean, he was that close. So it makes it more legit. That's how they used to do it. I remember when Triple H defeated Stone Cold Steve Austin in a 2 out of 3 Hell in a Cell match. He actually defeated Stone Cold clean. And it brought up that respect factor. But the first match, Austin beat him. And, they had a long feud going there. But eventually, Austin put over Triple H. But Austin beating Triple H in those previous matches was building up a respect factor for Triple H. People started respecting him and things like that. That's how you build up a true babyface. You keep him a heel for a year. The fans will start appreciating his work and stuff like that. And then you flip him over. But back to the pay-per-view, I'm sorry, man. I just go on some rants sometimes about WWE. You know, like we always do. We always go on wrestling rants.
Yeah, it's cool. That's what we do. It's what it's all about. Wrestling, but nothing but wrestling. All of these pay-per-views and these talks and stuff. But yeah, man, I understand that. And I'll get more onto the. I'll give you my opinion more on the Cena thing when we get down to it. So I'll give you a little bit more of my opinion on that when we get down to that match. But yeah, man, it was uplifting the Divas division is a good idea. My thoughts would be basically just if you're not going to give them a 10-minute match, give 2 5-minute matches. Put it on the first hour. Maybe give them one the first hour, or maybe one at the end of the second hour. Involve more Divas in your matches. You know, the ones that fight. I'm right with you with there. NXT is better booking. Why not take these Divas that are really not doing anything, put them down in NXT, let them learn to fight, let them learn to train. You got because number one is you want to lift up the Divas division, but you take it in mind too. You only got one match per show. That's all you've got. So really, you've got all these Divas fighting over one match, and after that one match is over with, then that's it for the Divas for the rest of the night. So what I would think that they would do is, if you're going to have Divas matches, show them more. TNA does whole pay-per-views with nothing but their knockouts. That's something they might need to take from TNA, which I know, really nobody really looks up to TNA, but that's an idea that WWE may need to do, is incorporate at least 2 good matches between the first 2 hours of Raw, because the last hour is usually half of that's to build up to the main event. But what you could do is illustrate one like the first or second match of Raw, and then one maybe at the middle to second half of the second hour of Raw, where that you have at least they're showing you more of it. Like if you have 2 tag matches, during a Raw, that's good. You don't want just a bunch of crap out there. Like we've always heard, you and I've heard, that first hour of Raw is really nothing but a filler. It's really nothing. I mean, they start off with that, but you get that second hour, it's kind of dull. And really, Raw should have the first hour and third hour and knock out that second hour, because really the second hour is really nothing. Your first hour, you use it to build up what you're going to do on the rest of the show. Second hour really is meaningless. So why not put another Divas match on there? If you're wanting to give them a chance to mix it up, give crowd, more of it, because I would love to see more than one Divas match with Divas that can fight. And like you just said, Trish Stratus, Lita, people to kill for that to be, one of the matches or 2 as often as they were when they were on there. That to me would be good. Now, Charlotte wrestles. All these NXT girls do. The Bellas can pretty much wrestle. Paige can wrestle. Naomi and them, they can wrestle, but you're only giving all those Divas just one match on Raw, and that's not enough. Or at least give 2 on SmackDown. Do something if you want to push it.
Yeah, the Divas, like the Bella Twins and them type of Divas, all they're doing is just having matches so they can have highlights for the Total Diva show. That's all it is just highlights for the Total Diva show. When they have Sasha Banks and Charlotte on there fighting, that's when things are going to get interesting for the wrestling fans. But they should have them stupid Diva matches like on SmackDown so they can get the highlights they want for the Total Diva show there. I mean, the funny thing is the Bella Twins are dating John Cena and Daniel Bryan. They have secret, 4-ways and 4-plays and all that jazz. But you would think Brie Bella would learn some wrestling moves from Daniel Bryan. And Brie Bella's the one improving, and she's the one dating the one that don't know a wrestling hardly. I mean, but yeah, so they're going to probably have it split up. They'll have the Sasha Banks Charlotte match, have that 20-minute, 15-minute awesome match. Then they'll have like a Total Diva match later in the show that lasts 3 minutes so they can get their highlights.
Yeah.
I just hope they don't put the NXT girls on Total Divas and just make them have 3. Just fuck it up. I don't think they will. I might have a little bit of trust and faith in WWE there with the Divas division, because
good luck.
They pushed the U.S. title.
Yeah, but that's Cena. The U.S. title was, like you said, they had to give it to Cena for it to be more relevant. That means that whoever had it before, it's only going to follow Cena. Wherever Cena's doing, that's what they're going to follow, man. It's not the title itself. It's who the person is that's got it. Let him drop the title tonight, tomorrow, whenever, and, someone else has it. Owens has it. Someone else has it. They're not going to focus on it as much. They're only doing this open challenge. Why? Because Cena has the title. Did they do this kind of stuff before? No. But they did it because Cena had the title. It's just Cena. That's why the girls are doing what they're doing, because Daniel Bryan being popular and Cena being popular. But
yeah, but it is helping the mid card division though. It is helping out the mid card, I think.
Yeah, but
the plan was, as you know, was Daniel Bryan was going to carry the IC title and maybe have a match between Daniel Bryan and John Cena at SummerSlam where they merge the titles into one. And that would make it more relevant too. But, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, the title is only as good as the person that's holding it. But I'm glad they put it on somebody to make it legit again. You know, I'm glad about it. I mean, I think it's a good idea. I mean, nothing else was working. I mean, the title has been irrelevant for many, many years. And, you know, finally it means something. But like you said, it's only as good as the person that's carrying it. So.
WWE can't, in my opinion, they can't push both titles. They can't push the IC and US at the same time. It's just they're incapable of doing it.
If they eventually merge them, I mean, they used to have multiple storylines going on at the same time. Now they just focus on one or two things at a time. Yeah, I agree with that. But when you put it on Daniel Bryan and John Cena, those guys are protected. It forces creative to be creative.
Which they're not. Because, I mean, I understand, and you're absolutely 100% right with the U.S. title. When the Intercontinental title, they had some good matches. Whoever had it fall. Then the U.S. title stayed with Ambrose over a year, and he didn't even defend it. Okay, then all of a sudden they're saying, well, now we need to put these two titles on two guys because we're going to treat these as main titles, because it all started when they were supposed to let Brock win. Brock was supposed to win, and everybody was going to be like, well, he's going to take the title away like it was before, and now we need titles that are going to be meaning something, so they give them to him, which was a good idea. But the whole John Cena challenge is, it's not mid cards really doing much. It's everybody knows that every week Cena's going to win, and that kind of, because they never give anyone the chance to feel like to give you and I, the audience, the WWE universe, that opportunity to think, well, hey, so and so make you win it. He make you lose it this time. Everybody knows Super Cena's going to win it every single week. That's my opinion. Every week I know he's going to win it. You know.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, the fans have figured it out basically, because the thing is, he's kicking out of everybody's finishers every week, and what happens is the guy will almost beat Cena, and then Cena will defeat him, and then Cena will try to put him over on the microphone, like, hey kid, you got something.
Yeah.
it's starting to get stale. Now my thing is, Cena's got to drop the U.S. title to somebody important like Kevin Owens. I think he would bring legitimacy to the U.S. title too. You got to drop it to somebody like a Kevin Owens. Maybe he did tonight. I don't know. We'll get into that, because I didn't watch it, man, because Raw makes me physically sick sometimes. It was good last week, but Raw is painful. Raw has been very painful to watch. And when I looked at the pay-per-view card, I said, this is not a pay-per-view other than the main event, a couple other matches. But I said, I'm not going to renew my subscription to watch this crap tonight. Right. I mean, you and I you can tell me the results and vice versa, and we can pretty much see what the direction they're going in and stuff like that, because we've been watching it forever, you know, and things like that. I'm doing the Kevin Castle tonight. You're like, nah, man, I didn't see it. Enlighten me. I'm like, they're just doing this, they're just doing that. You know, we're bookers, man. Bill the Booker. Used to be the Booker, man. You know that. Bill the Booker. I remember that. That's how far back we got. I heard about Bill the Booker.
Yeah, that's what it is. Team B, the Bookers. Bullet B, the Booker. No.
Yeah, maybe that's what the B in Team B can eventually stand for. Team Bookers. Yeah. And then some girls will come out and be like, we Team Hookers. What's up? You know.
Well, no, my closing remarks on that, dude, is just they can build it up. I think they just need to give the Divas at least 2 matches on a Raw to make them more relevant. I think the people only see 1 5-minute match and they think, well, they suck, they're inferior, they can't fight. We'll just go do something. I just feel like if you give them more of a reason to watch and give them another match, maybe it can draw some attention to them. I just think the booking and creative needs to do that. You know. Anything else you want to add to that before we go on to the next?
Let's go on to the next match, man. Before I start thinking about last month's Raw episodes that were making me sick, man, they were painful, man. I felt offended when I was watching it. I mean, I know I don't have to watch it, but just 1 second of it made me feel offended, and you know, I felt like just taking down the Raw show banner and things like that. You know, because I was offended by the Raw show banner when I was watching Raw a few weeks ago. It physically just hurt me, man. When I looked at it, it was so painful to watch.
Right.
I couldn't take it, man. And our podcasts that we listen to, all they do is shit on Raw every week. They're fair though. When it's good, they say it's good. Don, Tony, everybody agreed that this past Monday's Raw was great. I agree too. But you hear Joey Numbers talk, you say the same thing, man. Because Missionary would be like, hey, did you watch Raw? He'd be like, well, I tried, man, but it was making me throw up. And Don Tony says every time he watches TNA Impact, he has to shit. You know, he literally has to take a shit every time he watches TNA because he has the words TNA and shit associated together. That's why. It's a psychological thing. But it's true. He sees TNA, he has to go shit. You know, but okay, let's go to the next match, man. But
I understand that, man. That's
what they say, yeah. They're very critical, but they're right. They're right about it, and they're just like us. We're just as critical, man, because we're just the same age as they are, and you know we've seen it. We've seen it generation before, and we see where they're going and think it's the same formula. And we're just like we just shake our heads and like, why are they doing this? You put a good Divas match on Raw, NXT Divas match on Raw, man. I guarantee you people will be drawn to it because people that watch Raw are wrestling fans, not just they're always trying to appeal to people that are not wrestling fans, and it's making wrestling fans walk away. Yeah. Because like I said, Total Diva highlights. Oh, we can't show him. He's talented, but he doesn't have the appearance. I'm shocked Kevin Owens was on Raw because he doesn't have that look to him. He don't have that pretty boy look, you know. He's got the old school wrestler look, but that's why everybody likes him. But I'm surprised WWE gave him a chance, and good for him. But how can you say no to somebody as awesome as Kevin Owens? He's great on the mic. He's a true heel. He's a damn good wrestler. How can you say that? That'd be fucking retarded not to put KO on Raw like they did. Same thing with Bray Wyatt. You know, he doesn't have that supermodel look, but he's got a unique look to him that people like. You got to have somebody that appeals to everybody. You got to have the Coffee King. You got to have the New Day and the darkness, and you got to have the Sheamus for the international people. You know, you got to have like the regular chubby guy, the regular the bruiser type. You know, people like that. And you got to have your pretty boy Cena for the females. You know, he's like the modern day Hogan, arguably, as far as like drawing the women and kids and shit go. But he didn't sell as much as Hogan did merchandise. I don't think he did.
Right.
No, because wrestling was bigger in the '80s with Hogan than it is now with Cena. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But let's get back to this pay-per-view.
But if you're picking up what you were saying about Bray Wyatt, I'll pick that one out. Bray Wyatt is they've went away from Bray Wyatt, and that was a problem. Bray Wyatt was awesome when he was with was the Wyatt family together. They broke him up, let him push and let the other ones get their singles push. But they misused Bray Wyatt as being a singles competitor. They took the mysteriousness away from him, and they were built this whole face of fear, the new face of fear versus the Undertaker. They didn't have time. I think when you're trying to give an overall push for a character more than just 3 weeks, like they had the whole Bray Wyatt out there with a chair burning, the Undertaker's coughing and all that stuff, that's fine and dandy, but you're not making it relevant enough for the people really to get that mysterious enough. And, with the match with, at WrestleMania, they had to stop, and you and I were watching together, and you and I noticed that they didn't even have the whole entrances for them because they had to cut it short because of other things. So here they are without entrances. Here they are now. Bray Wyatt is, in the middle of feuding with Roman Reigns. And, I did read the other day that Vince is talking about even having possibly Bray Wyatt fight against Sting in WrestleMania 32. And that being Sting's last match, and I just think
I hope so, because that actually sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, but they'd bury Bray again a second. Why are you going to want to keep burying unless they build it up where Bray Wyatt gets the upper hand? I don't agree with giving Sting the upper hand and Sting winning. I'd rather
he could put over. Yeah, the story could. I mean, it's got a lot of potential. Bray Wyatt versus Sting, that has potential, man.
Yeah, it could.
As I was listening to Wrestling Soup yesterday, they were talking about how WWE mistreated Sting. You know, they promised him, you know, they just act like they didn't really care for him, and you know, he was there for a minute and stuff like that. And
you know why? You know why?
WWE with Sting.
But you know why, though?
If they do that, I know why. Because they want to. Because he's not from the WWE farm. He's from WCW.
There you go.
He's one of the most popular wrestlers in WCW, and they want to. They're so WWE's so egotistical. They can't let They had to embarrass Sting, man. They just had to embarrass him like that. Mm-hmm. But if they put him with Bray Wyatt, I'd be shocked. You know, that'd be awesome. But I'd be very shocked that they're doing something with Sting. Sting should be at SummerSlam. You know, Sting could be at SummerSlam. Do something with the fucker. I mean, it could be Sting versus Triple H rematch at this SummerSlam. That's marketable. People be like, oh, another Triple H and Sting match, and let Sting get his revenge. People would buy into that. You know, a lot of people were talking about Sting at this past year's WrestleMania. A lot of people were hyped up about it more than Vince wants to give him credit for, I assume.
Well, yeah, and I think, but and mentioning this, and I hope Bray Wyatt going against Sting, it would help Bray Wyatt too. I just, I think that they've done pretty good. Pretty good with the leading up. What WWE's main problem is, they don't market the feuds right. The matches are put on, but to me, it falls a lot on that feud. If you give me a feud that's interesting that I can watch something happen, a build up of something going on, that'll draw me to it. But whenever it's like it's no build up to it, you're like, why are they even having this match? It's kind of like back in the old WCW days. I'll pull it. I hate talking about my company, but they were in the very beginning. They were bad. They would put good guy versus jobber or bad guy versus jobber, but they would never have any kind of build up. And to me, WWE has brought that. That's what makes them who they are, because they used to could build up a match. Now, I think they've done pretty decent with a couple of weeks of them building with Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt. So that's kind of cool, kind of weird, but keep it mysterious with Bray Wyatt. You can actually go, because Reigns, like, I'm all in agreement with you. Reigns needs to turn heel. To get everybody against him, have a good, solid heel run, even give him the title as a heel. Don't give it to him as a baby face. Give it to him as a heel, because then he'll have the title and people will hate him at the same time. Because dude, as well as I do, what's going to happen whenever it's time for Reigns to get the title and he gets it. So you going to be cheered for it? No. Not like he should. Not like any other face is going to be cheered for it.
No, it's going to feel, if he's a baby face and he wins the title, it's going to feel forced on us. It's still going to feel forced on us, because he's just like Rocky Maivia. What did Rocky Maivia? They turned him heel for a good year. And a year after that, he was the hottest heel and then babyface in the company. He was both. That's how they did it back in the day. They always kept the new guy a heel for a year to get that respect back.
Right.
And then turn him baby.
Exactly.
Turning him into a bad heel. People eventually start turning him.
Exactly. And the reason, and good that we're talking in on this, because actually it's a good lead into the next match, because the next match is the Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt match. So that was a good lead into that. They showed the build up over the last few weeks of what's been happening, starting at Money in the Bank, where Bray showed up after Reigns was this close to getting the Money in the Bank, and then it shows him over the weeks, the weird stuff going on between them. The match was actually a good match. I would say it was probably a B-. I would give the match, but it was a good back and forth. You had Bray, to me, carrying most of the match, most of the offense, as you supposed that would be the happening. And of course, you know, Reigns had his big ooh-ah stuff that he does, and the Superman punch. He had that going for him, and he hit his few spots that he does. So you kind of get everything that you're expecting. Bray is the worker. Reigns is the face. Reigns gets the big offense, and it's a pretty good match here. But throughout the match, and once the surprise of the match is this: Reigns is getting ready to get the best of Wyatt, get the upper hand, but then somebody attacks Roman Reigns, and he gets in the ring, and then Bray Wyatt ends up getting the pin. Somebody in all black goes out there. People don't know who it is. So then, yeah, Bray Wyatt is out there laying on the mat beside him, Roman Reigns, and the person in the black comes up, climbs to the ropes, and stands behind Bray Wyatt. Now, Bray Wyatt is sitting up on his knees, kind of setting up, you know. All of a sudden, when he pulls the hood back, lo and behold, it's Luke Harper.
I was about to say that. Somebody.
Yeah.
It could be somebody. They should put some new people with Bray. Well, I'm glad they're back together. That sounds like they might be getting back into a faction. Because Bray Wyatt needs a faction. All top heels need a manager or a faction or something going on. The Rock had the corporation, the evil corporation with them. Remember the corporate Rock and all that?
Right.
And, yeah, definitely. Bray Wyatt needed the Wyatt family back, or at least some new family members in there. There was a what's that? I was trying to think. There was a diva that you could throw in there too. That diva you like from NXT would probably work with the Wyatt family too. Could be like
Becky Lynch.
Yeah,
but she's Irish. She went with Sheamus.
Or put up
Paige. It'd be Paige though. If it was anybody that was dark still, but see, Paige ain't dark like she used to be. She's not gothic.
Yeah, but no, she's the pale gothic chick. She'll fit right in.
Yeah, but they've tried to lighten her up. If you noticed a little bit with her makeup, you know, she's not as pasty and as she looked when she went there, but she's not like that. You know, a lot of people may think that, but you and I've seen the divas and stuff, and we've seen actually she's a good looking woman, and she's not that pale. You know, just all that makeup and mess they put. But yeah, they can have a woman in there. It's good to throw in a woman as part of it. She didn't have to be the main focal point. Bray, you got him, but you're right though. It would be good a faction to have a woman in, because you don't see a faction with a woman in. It's mostly just guys. But sometimes you have a woman that goes in them, but that's the valet. It's not really a manager because she doesn't really get involved, you know.
One of my favorite factions, even though short term, was the Straight Edge Society, CM Punk. Remember, he had that bald lady with him. I forgot her name, but that worked out because he was rubbing on her bald head and stuff like that, and it worked. You know, that's the only reason I thought of that. It's like the Straight Edge Society.
Yeah,
you know, make it like that.
Yeah, they need someone.
I think we got to unfortunately.
All right. Up next, we have the triple threat match between the divas. It's finally come on. You know, good match. Charlotte represents Paige's team. Sasha Banks represents Naomi's team. And Brie is in there for Nikki's team, which, you know, you got to have a bell in the match. Match is actually watchful. Good points and spots in it. Good, you know, over the top, jumping over the top, rope on everybody. Three of them done it. You know, good moves. They hit their moves on it as well. Really good match. And as the match ends out, you know, out of all of them, Charlotte ends up winning with the figure eight. That's what's called Ric Flair's move, the figure four to figure eight. So it was a really good match that they have between the divas. So after all that building up, it was a really good match, you know. So I think they need to keep going on with that. Also, if you want to continue on, up next is this. This is the one we're talking about. Cena and Owens. Good match as always. Good back and forth action. Owens actually did every single signature move that Cena done. The 5-knuckle shuffle, you can't see me, STF, the AA, he done all of it. Good back and forth match. And guess what? You're going to be happy. Cena actually tried the springboard stunner again, and he nailed it. He nailed the springboard stunner for once. Granted, he had to look when he was jumping to make sure he didn't miss Owens. But Owens didn't sell it too well because right time Cena hit him with it, he went back. No, Owens nailed him on a clothesline because
Cena's been reading all that criticism he gets for it on Twitter. Cena's been on Twitter too much this week because everybody's telling him to stop doing it. I'm gonna get it right.
But it was a good. It was an awesome match, dude. And coming out in the end, surprisingly, Cena gets the win. Owens didn't get.
Did the title change?
No, Cena beat him with the STF.
Oh no.
Yeah, he beat him. Yeah, he done it twice on Owens. He did it. Owens crawled to the ropes. He broke it, and Cena. Well, he went to go for the ropes, and Cena pulled him back in the middle, and he finally tapped out. Wasn't expecting that because we all thought Owens was going to get it. Okay, you want to continue on? Or you want to talk about?
Well, I was thinking if Kevin Owens won the title, it would entitle John Cena to a rematch, which would be like match number 4, match number 5. So that kind of told me that Kevin wasn't going to walk away with the title because Cena would want a rematch, and then it'd be another match between the
right.
You know what I mean? But that sucks, though. But yeah, I'm gonna let you do most of the talking. I think I'm echoing, so I'm gonna let you carry the show, Bill the Booker.
All right, if you want to say anything, just let me know because there ain't too much left to go.
I'll just say, yeah, that's right, yeah,
that's right. Next up, after the Owens match, the referee carries Owens to the back and helps him to the back. That was a long, hard match. They both fought. It was very, very difficult. Up next, they talk about Ryback, how he was, how Ryback wasn't going to be able to defend the title because he had a staph infection in his knee. So, as that was happening, Miz comes out there, Mr. Awesome comes out there, and he starts crying.
Mr. No reaction. I'm trying to see if there's an echo. If there's an echo still. Yeah.
No, I don't hear one. Not here.
You're not going to hear it. It's going to be on my end because I'm hosting it. Because the way I'm hearing it is the way it's going to turn out on YouTube once it's uploaded.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go ahead and sum it up.
Figure that out. But I'll let you talk, and I'll just agree with you. I'll just say yay or nay or whatever.
Okay.
I'll clap like New Day.
Well, Miz comes out crying because he's complaining how Ryback ain't really hurt and he's just scared to fight. He tells us about the Big Show. He said, "Hey, Big Show, you need to do what everybody in the country wants you to do, and that's retire." And he gets mad because he thought the Big Show wasn't going to, because the Big Show wasn't dressed to fight, and he didn't go out there and he's running his mouth. And all of a sudden, the Big Show's music comes out, and Miz is like, "That's right, don't listen to everybody. Let's me and you tag up and defeat Ryback." Big Show steps over the rope, weapons of mass destruction, knocks Miz out. Steps back over the ropes and walks to the back. Leaves Miz laying in the ring. That's all that was.
That's my agreement with you. If I agree, I clap.
Thank you, sir. And finally,
just say what you got to say, then pause for a second and wait for the clap.
Well, it depends because I keep talking fast and my stuff runs on.
Do the best you can with it, Bill Booker.
Well, all right. Finally, last but not least, this is the World Wrestling Federation, World Wrestling Entertainment. Why did I say Federation? I'm so used to saying that entertainment. I said Federation.
Because they were stupid to change it anyway. I know they had to.
But oh well. Anyway, next is
wrestling fans. That's
it
right.
It happens.
Wrestling fans.
Thank you. So,
hey, to quote the Ultimate Warrior, we need to get the F back in. Not get the F out, but get the F back in. To quote the Ultimate Warrior, may he rest in peace. One of my favorites. And I was an Ultimate Warrior fan when WWE was bashing him because I was subbed to him on YouTube and I would laugh at his friends from Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash.
Oh, yeah. Well, I do want to get into a little bit on this one because it actually was a good match. You would think so with being Rollins versus Brock. But I'll tell you, dude, the match you and I saw at WrestleMania failed in comparison to the match that was on tonight. Seth, about it, the only way Seth would be able to even, what's that? Oh, okay. All right.
That scene coming to the ring in WrestleMania.
Okay.
You remember that, right? He had the Asian drum.
Yeah. I know it was horrible. It was.
It was just like this. Then Sting comes out. It was crazy.
I know it was horrible. I know that was the worst thing he could have done. It really was. But it wasn't. That WrestleMania match was between Reigns and Brock was horrible. Brock mostly dominated, which you and I talked about this. Rollins, the only way Rollins could have done anything was to go to work on Brock's legs, because that's the only thing he can do. Is if he works on him, keep him down, he might have a chance, even just down. Well, that's what he done. Sure, true to form, that's what he done. He worked on Brock's leg a lot of the match. He actually gave in more offensive than Reigns. Now, Brock done 13 suplexes on Seth Rollins in this match. 13 suplexes. Well, match goes on, and he's getting dominated. Yeah, that's right. 13. The match goes on.
T-shirt.
They will. And, well, that's what they were doing. They were going to try to do it, and you heard them talking about Suplex City, Michael Cole repeatedly in the announcement. So I don't know what's going to get more attention, Suplex City or $9.99. So we see up. Well, anyway, we fast forward to the end of the match. He is dominating Seth. Then all he's doing is suplexing him around the ring. Seth can't really do any more offense to him. Well, he does his 13th suplex on him. He goes out, goes to pin Seth. All of a sudden, the lights go out.
Lights go out?
The bell tolls. When the lights go out and the bell tolls, who does that usually means coming out? The Undertaker.
Corporate came back?
Not corporate. The Undertaker came back. He came out. He was in the middle of the ring when the lights come back on. Seth is nowhere to be found. The referee is nowhere to be found. And Brock is standing there looking at him like just staring at him. And he's staring at him for 5 minutes, just standing there. Well, then he tries to go, and Brock tries to go and clothesline. The Undertaker ducks, kicks him right between the legs, man. And I don't care how big you are, when you get kicked between the legs, you're going to go down. And Brock went down. He went up, he picked Brock up, and he done a choke slam on him. Well, Brock, right. Then after Brock, he waits for Brock to get back up. He does the tombstone on him. Right. And then finally he drags himself back up. Yet again, he does another tombstone on him for the second time. So
now,
and that's it.
I agree with that. Because I'm echoing, explain. But that gets Brock away from the WWE title and puts him in a new feud with the heel Undertaker. That's going to be it. I see it from a business perspective. Build the business perspective. That gets Brock a great title picture, so you don't have to worry about the title back on Brock.
Right.
And keep Brock in a hot feud with the Undertaker. That's genius. I love that.
I know they said that he had been training before, but they never mentioned. Yeah. And I know that they had mentioned before that, Brock was supposed that Undertaker had been seen in training lately, and some people say he looked a lot ripped than what he typically is. And they said that he was going to be at the pay-per-view tonight to start possibly a feud with somebody. They just didn't name who. And surprisingly enough, it's Brock, and they're going to fight at SummerSlam. So maybe the Undertaker can get some retribution back for his loss, which is a good idea. Don't make it WrestleMania. Just make it a side one. That way, people always remember he got his revenge, even though if it ain't Summer. But SummerSlam's one of the, what, 4 crown jewel matches, pay-per-views. So why not? But it was good.
Going to get his win. It's just a rematch for the poster.
Yeah, but it's still good though to have that.
They got to get Brock. Undertaker don't need anything really. They got to protect Brock. Keep Undertaker heel. That's cheating. He lost the streak. It goes heel.
He's not heel.
Yeah. I love that, man.
Huh?
I love that.
Yeah, but he's not heel. They were cheering for Undertaker.
Really?
Yeah.
Eventually,
well, because if you think about it, people are, you're right. The Undertaker doesn't need it, but they're going to say they're wanting to give him a win over the guy to beat him. It's like you just don't beat the Undertaker and go on. He's not going to allow you to defeat him. He's going to, somehow. Well, at least that's my opinion. That's why I think, you're right. It's not going to give him that one loss back, but in the fans' eyes, he got his retribution back and defeated Brock Lesnar. And whenever it comes to mention Undertaker, even though this isn't his last match, the guy that beat him, he got his revenge on. And it may push it like that.
That or the low blow. That's a heel move.
Yeah, kick him right between the legs, man.
The crowd because they were excited to see Undertaker. But as the week progresses, they're going to start going the heel route. Or it could be versus baby. Because those are, in my opinion, you don't see it that much. That's all I got to say. Or I'm right, or both of us are right. Either way, it's smart.
Yeah, it really is. You're absolutely right. It was a good call that they take Brock out of this wrestling context. Now, since we've gotten through that, who do you think is the next viable opponent for Seth then, since Brock is now out of the equation? Because Cena's got the title still, and Seth still has the title, and they're not going to combine them. But who do you think is a viable opponent for coming up for Seth then to feud with if they do that? What? They don't want Ambrose again. I don't think, do they?
Ambrose or Reigns. I say Reigns or who else? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because the main event will be Brock Lesnar Undertaker. WWE title is going to be like the secondary match at SummerSlam. It's not going to matter who next feud between the WWE championship. It's not going to matter because Brock and Taker will be the draw.
Yeah, you're right for this next month. So it could be a mid-card guy or upper mid-card guy, and it really just be relevant, but not important. Okay, makes sense. So, but overall, I'll give the pay-per-view a C+. That'll be my grade for it. Yeah, it was average. You had your good matches, and then you had your kind of the not so good things happen. So I'll give it a C+, maybe a B-.
Thumbs in the middle.
Yeah, thumbs in the middle.
Because
yeah, thumbs right in the middle, right there.
Hold on. There it goes.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. And then some of it was.
Exactly.
But mostly then you had your Undertaker. Undertaker.
Rest in peace. So, yeah, but that was all the pay-per-view for tonight.
What's Paul Bear busting up when he was live busting up?
Oh yes. I think it turned out pretty decent, man. Not too bad at all.
I'm not trying to throw Paul Bear. I love Paul Bear. He was one of the greatest men involved in WWE. So I hate to pick one like that. I just had to say that. Oh yeah, I had to.
Well, it was all right, though, man. It wasn't too bad tonight. Pay-per-view wasn't too bad. Like I said, I give it a C minus, B plus, or C plus, B minus is what I give it tonight.
Cool.
So, but
close this out.
Well, everybody. I appreciate everybody once again for tuning in here to the wrestling WWE Battlegrounds 2015 pay-per-view results. I hope everyone checks it out. Check out the page, Bullet B's page. Check out my page, and keep subscribe to us. Keep liking our stuff. Keep sending out. Get your friends, everybody to check out and check our videos out. The more views, the more cha-ching that Bullet B gets there, the more pennies he gets. So everyone check it out. Have a good night. And for Team B, this is BillMac.
Bullet B headed to the beach. I'm headed to the beach, man. I'm out of here. I got a call, man. Call to the beach.
Adios. Adios, muchacho. Later.